Okay, this video is about factorizing quadratics using the crisscross. So a very useful skill in GCSE because you need to be able to factorize quadratic in a lot of areas. So let's just quickly start. So how do you know when you're going to need a double bracket? Okay, so because you have the x squared here and a thing at the end called the constant, that's just a number without an x. Okay, using the crisscross method, when you multiply out a bracket and you put x and x there, you get the x squared. So I will put these two x's over here. They should multiply to give me the x squared, and yes, they do. Now, when you're deciding what numbers to put here, you're actually looking at 12 and all the factors of 12. So factors of 12 are 6 and 2. Let's just look at positive numbers now. We've got 3 and 4. We've also got 1 and 12. So just let's look down the list of factors until we've actually got what we want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 6 and 2 here and check are these the correct factors to go into our double brackets. Well, let's just see. Let's use a different coloured pen. So if I move along this line over, so x times by 2x is 2x, and then x times by 6 is 6x. So I'm going to bring some of them together, and that actually gives me 8x. Well, we want this to give me what's in the middle, and it doesn't. So that means we can rule that one out. Okay, so let's just rub off that and try a new set of numbers. Okay, so we're going to try now 3 and 4. So you also want to just rub off that bit. Let's try 3 and 4 now. So we'll put a 3 there and a 4 here. So it doesn't really matter which way around it goes for these questions, but later on it might. So let's move down from the x to the 4 and let's multiply them. That's 4x. Let's go and do x times by 3. That's 3x. Let's sum them together. Okay, that's going to give me 7x, and that's our middle number. So our correct set of factors are 3 and 4. So I'm going to just pop down 3 and 4 there. They are both positive, and therefore we factorize the first one. Okay, so you can pause the video at any time. I've got question 2. You might want to pause it now and give it a go, or just continue to watch. So we always start off with x and x. They multiply to give me x squared. That's true. Now I need to pick factors of 4. So factors of 4 are 2 and 2. And this time we've got also 4 times by 1. And just let it have a little check over here. So for easier questions, 2 plus 2, is going to give me 4, whereas the 4 plus 1 gives me the 5, and the 5 is what I want in the middle. So therefore, we should be using 4 and 1 just by inspection. Okay, so let's see if this works. We've got x times by 1, which is a 1x. And then we've got x times by 4 along this side, which is a 4x. Sum them together, they give me 5x. Is 5 positive 5x the one in the middle? Yes. So therefore, we can factorize. And we can factorize and get this, okay, and it works. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so let's start off with x and x. Okay, when they multiply together, do they give me the x squared? That's right. Let's look at 6. So we've got a positive 6 here, and we've got a negative. That means I've got to start looking at negative numbers. Okay, so factors of 6 are 2 and 3. We've also got 1 and 6, but we've also got negative 2, negative 3, and we've also got negative 1 and negative 6. So you want to think which one you're going to use. Now the way to have a look to see which one you're going to use, you're going to add these two numbers together. That gives me 5, so that can't work. You're going to add these together. That gives me positive 7. That's not going to work. Now, when you have a minus 2 and you plus a minus 3, let's just write that, minus 2 plus minus 3. That's just negative 2 minus 3, which gives me negative 5. that's not what I'm interested in. Now let's look at this one. So -1 plus -6, well, it's just -1 take away 6. That's going to give me the -7, so that's the one I want. So let's have a look at the set of factors, -1 and -6. I'm just going to prove to you that it does work. X times by -6 is -6x, and x times by -1 is -x. If we add them together, that's going to give you the -7x. So the correct factors are here. And then we can factorize. So x minus 1 bracket x minus 6. Okay. Next question. You can pause the video at any time or just wait and watch me do it. So we know x times by x is x squared. Okay, we want to get two factors that give me 10. The big clue here is both numbers must be negative. Okay, because if two numbers multiply that are negative, they're going to give me a positive answer. Both numbers have to be negative for this one because this is a positive. So we've got an option -5 and -2, and we've got -10 and -1. Which one do you think they're going to be? Okay, yes, if you said -5, -2, you're absolutely right, because let's just show you here if you're still not too sure. -2 times by x is -2x. X times by -5 is 5x, and they sum together to give me the -7. Just ignore this bit over here. Give me -7, and they are the factors you want. Okay, so we've got x minus 5 bracket x minus 2. All right, next question. Pause the video, have a go. Okay, so what we're going to try now is x, and x gives me the x squared, that's right. Now we want to get the 42. We're going to use 6 and 7. Okay, now I need to make sure that they sum together to give me -1x. Okay, the negative has to be on the 7 and the positive has to be on the 6. So if these two multiply together, yes, they give me the -42. If we just carry through with the multiplication, we get a -7x at the bottom, we get a positive 6x together. 6x take away 7x is -1x, and that's what we want in the middle. So we've got our correct factors. So it's x plus 6, x minus 7. Okay, so again, if you're not sure about this, you might want to trial all of the numbers that multiply so you can show yourself that actually doesn't work. The only factors that work are +6 and -7. Okay, next question. Using this crisscross method, I've got x and x. They multiply to give me the x squared, which is this part. Two numbers that multiply to give me +18. So have to think what two numbers that is. So we're going to try now 6 and 3. I know it's sum together to give me 9, but if they're both negative, they'll sum together to give me -9x. So x times by -3 is -3x. X times by 6 is -6x, and that does give me the -9. So here your factor, these are your two factors. So you've got x minus 6 and x minus 3. Okay, so that's factorized. Next question. Okay, so you need a double bracket for this one. So what this is telling me is that I've got x squared plus 0 x's. There are 0 x's here. -16, but obviously they haven't written that down, so how you could write 0 x's is not even write it. So what two numbers multiply to give you -16, but when they sum together they give you nothing? So x times by x is x squared. Have you thought about it? If you use +4 and you use a -4 and you sum them together, they will give you the 0 x's. Let's have a check. minus 4x plus 4x gives you nothing, and there are no x's. So these are your correct factors. Now this is dots, a case of dots where it's the difference of squares. So it would factorize to give me x plus 4 bracket x minus 4. So just be aware, because I'm going to give you a few more questions like this. So question 8, there are 0 x's, 2 factors that multiply to give you 25. They've got to both sum together to give you 0. Have you thought of what they are? So it's x and x on this side, minus 5 and positive 5. So 5x and positive 5x when we multiply. Minus 5 plus 5 is 0 x's. There are 0 x's here. So when you factorize, okay, you've got x minus 5 bracket x plus 5 factorize, and that's another case of dots, the difference of squares. Okay, so next question, question 7. We want to try this one. Again, it's a case of there are no x squared, and there's no x's in the middle, so there must have been an elimination. So if you've thought about it, the numbers that are here are the square root of 36. So the square root of 36 is 6. One has to be positive, one has to be negative to create that elimination. And you've got 0 x's. It's another case of dots, so that's going to factorize to give these two as their factors. Now let's try this one. So when you are considered a bit of a difficult question there, but you want to create a 4x squared there. Now what you want to make sure is that it's a case of dots, so therefore these two have to be identical. So 2x times by 2x does give me the 4x squared. Now I want to create an elimination. So what should you do? Okay, so your factors are going to be minus 4 and positive 4 again. Let's just check that. 2x times by 4 is 8x. 2x times by minus 4 is minus 8x, and that will give me 0x, so it works. So your two factors are these. So just be aware you can get a dots question like this, and your answer would be this. Okay, question 9. Have you thought about it? It's linked to square roots, two numbers that multiply to give me 9x squared. Well, let's think about if we square root 9 and if we square root 36. So they are your big clues. So over here, we're going to have 3x. So these two factors are exactly the same. That's what you want. That, yeah, it gives me, just double check, that does give me 9x squared when you multiply these two numbers. Over here, however, it's minus 6 and plus 6, okay? So double check that using the crisscross method. So 3 times by 6 is 18x, and 3 times by minus 6 is minus 18x, and that gives me 0 x's, and there are no x's here, so you factorize that by putting it into a double bracket. There you go. Okay, next question, question 10. Okay, here is where it gets harder, and here's why this method is quite useful. You want two numbers to multiply to give you 2x. So we're going to use x times by 2x. Now x times by 2x gets me this 2x squared, so that's great. Now factors that make a positive 5 I know are 5 and 1. 5 is a prime number, or negative 5 and negative 1. But as there is no negative here, we can eliminate that one. So it's not going to be that one. So it's going to be 5 and 1. So if I stick the 1 there, actually let's just see what happens when I put the 5 there. So if I stick my 5 there and my 1 there, let's see what happens. It's got to be these factors, because that's the only option. So 2x times by 5 is 10x, and x times by 1 is 1x. Now if I add them together, that will give me 11x. That's not what I want. So now where you place the 5 and the 1 actually matters. So I'm going to put the 5, I'm going to put the 5 at the bottom, and now the 1 this time. So let's just see. 2x times by 1 is actually 2x, and x times by 5 is 5x, and that sums to give me 7x, and yes, that's what I want. So the correct factors are these two. So just be mindful of, now it counts where you place the 5 and where you place the 1, because we have a 2x here. Okay, so these ones are harder. You can try question 11. You can pause the video at any time and then try. Okay, so if not, let's have a look at this question. So we've got, we're going to put 2x there and an x there. When they multiply, they give me a 2x, that's fine. 7's another prime number, so 1 and 7 are my only factors. Minus 1 and minus 7 could be, but this positive is telling me that we're not using negatives at all. So therefore, we have to be careful where we place the 7 and 1. So if I place 7 at the bottom and 1 at the top, let's just take a look. I will get a 1x at the top and a 14x at the bottom. If I add them together, I get 15x, and that's not what I want. I want 9x. So it doesn't work. So let's actually rub that one out, and let's rub out what we have on the board here. So let's use red pen again. So let's put the 7 up there and the 1 down there. So that's going to give me a 2x. That's going to give me a 7x, and they sum together to give me a 9x. So my correct factors are here, giving me 2x plus 7 bracket x plus 1. And it's a really nice method to make sure you got it. Do in the exam double check you are doing it right. Don't think you've got it. Always double check, because it will earn you a correct mark. Okay, now we've got an even harder one, so that looks quite difficult. The good thing is though, this is a 5, so 5 is a prime number, and therefore its factors are only 5 and 1. So I definitely know 5x and x, when it multiplies together, it will give me the 5x squared. Now I need to look at 14. Because it's a positive, I'm only looking at positive factors of 14. So 14, I've got 1 and 14. And then I have, I've got 1 and 14 there. And then I could have 2 and 7. So you might just check which one is going to go where. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to stick, if we stick our 14 here, we're going to get a really, really big number. We're going to get 5 times by 14, so we could stick a 14 there and have the 5 this side, and not the 5, the 1 this side. So you would get 14x, and then you would get 5x, but it comes together to give you 19x, and that's not what you want. So now we can eliminate the first one. Okay, let's get rid of the first one. Okay, now you're going to put 2 and 7, so you can put your 2 there and your 7 there. Some of you might have already picked up where you're going to place it, you would have seen beforehand. So 5 times by 7 is 35x. X times by 2 is a 2x. Yes, that's giving us what we want. I'm putting these pluses there because they're both positive, so these are my correct factors for the question 12. If you got it, well done. Here's another question. Pause the video if you're feeling confident with it now, or just keep on watching with me and then to reinforce what we've done. So we definitely know it's 2x and x. That's going to give me this. Now I've got 18, so 18, they're going to be positive numbers. Okay, I'm not going to use 1 and 8. Well, I could possibly use 1 and 8, but maybe we won't, 1 and 18, but we won't need it. They're definitely all positive, because this is telling us that all the factors are positive here. So we've got to use a positive number. Well, they're both positive. Okay, so let's put in a 6 and let's put in a 3 here. So that's going to give me a 6x and that's going to give me a 6x here. They sum together to give me 12x. That's not what I want, so what I'm going to do is rub this out and let's see what happens when we swap them over. So now I'm going to put my 6 at the bottom and my 3 at top. It is worthwhile, if you're still not sure, is to keep on experimenting. So we've got a 3x here, and then we've got a 2 times by 6, which is a 12x, and yes, it sums together to give me 15x, so I don't need that, and now I know what it is. They're both positive, so that is my factorization. So 2x plus 3 in one bracket, and the other bracket is x plus 6. Okay, so we've got a minus 25 this time. 7, nice thing about 7, it's a prime number, so its only factors are 7 and 1. So 7x times by x is a 7x squared, that's great. Got quite a few factors for 12, we've got 1 and 12. Going to leave that the last one though, and we've got 3 and 4, and we've got, okay, the other pair are 6 and 2. So let's use 3 and 4, so we're going to put 3 and 4 over here. With our red pen, we're going to multiply. We've got 3x on this side, and 7 times by 4 is 20, 28. Now let's have a look at this. Now I know if I plus them together, it's going to give me 31. But if I subtract them, if I do 3 subtract 28, that will give me my minus 25. So I've actually lucked out and got them in the right places, or some of you would have seen actually that calculation works, so that's why you're going to put 3 and 4 in the same place. Okay, so we want to make sure, therefore, so when 7x times by 4, we get negative 28. So the negative is on the 4, and yet the positive is on the 3, and they are your correct factors. It is really worthwhile checking that you've got this. Often students use this method and they don't check and they end up having the wrong answers. Okay, so that was that video. Hopefully that's been useful. This is a very important topic because it comes up in various parts of GCSE questions, and I will make some more videos where we use a quadratic factorizing skill. All right, bye.